Hello, hello, good night to the unfamiliar faces. I swear I feel like all my followers are unfamiliar. So, it's the same. I go on live and I'm not really too concerned right now about like how many people I get in my Instagram live. Obviously, if I get people who are people that I'm familiar with, then I get to reconnect. But at this point, with the way things are in Toronto and how I feel about people, I don't really care one way or the other. So I'm gonna post links in my story to my YouTube, which I often do. These lives, actually, let me turn my timer off. These lives are kind of like a running documentation of my story, my life, what I've been through very recently. Really mostly focusing on the past year. I feel like I've come to realize that a lot of people in the city just have erroneous ideas about me, which I don't know if I really care about that part, to be honest with you, but I kind of do feel like it's been time for me to kind of say something. I've been so quiet, I've been so focused, and I do have time now. So there's that. So tonight, I'm calling this live the Tomorrow Project. So I'm going to explain what that is. So I don't know if you ever heard the song. Actually, let me look it up. So there's a song, other people that do YouTube will like actually sing when a song comes to mind. I'm not gonna do that. I probably can't play the song, but it's called Tomorrow by Annie. It's like a Disney song, and it basically is like where she's basically like always saying. Actually, wait, but I should be able to play a snippet of it. It shouldn't be like a huge issue. But anyways, it's basically where she's constantly singing like tomorrow, tomorrow, tomorrow. And that's kind of how I feel like my situation kind of panned out. So somebody had a feeling that they should get me away from someone else, which is fine, right? Like, they successfully accomplished that. And for whatever reason, that was not enough. Getting me away from the guy, me minding my business for months and months, was not enough. They decided that they want to recruit me into their little criminal organization. And if not recruit me, then terrorize me and destroy my life, because I felt like I wasn't going to come on board. Or as revenge for me making reports and all of that. They felt like they wanted to destroy my life. So, one person is what I would call a spiritual delinquent, and the other person is what I would call a freaking idiot. Now, people will be like, well, why would you say that? These people are dangerous people. Because you know what? I'll tell you this. I think everybody has intuition, but my intuition does not allow me to make stupid decisions. And I feel as though when it comes to, like, for example, there's times where it'll even be like a deal that I'm in the middle of, or it could be like somewhere that I'm supposed to go. And my intuition will literally almost grab me like an invisible hand. Stop requesting to be in my life. We don't have anything to talk. I don't even know you. You're not even a real follower. Anyway, my intuition will literally grab me like an invisible hand, and be like, don't go here, don't do that. And I feel like in this situation that this happened multiple times, that people, like, there must have been multiple opportunities for people to say to themselves, like, yeah, I don't know if I want to go forward with this. Like, this one feels off. Because I always feel like, even when I watch like documentaries and stuff, and somebody gets like in trouble, or they've been doing the same crime or the same scam for forever, and then all of a sudden now they're on BBC and ABC and CNN and like all these networks, and it's global, and there's videos of the FBI taking them down in handcuffs. And I always think to myself, that particular time, there must have been something about that job that was so off that somebody should have said, we should walk away from that one. Like, that one is going to be the one that gets us in trouble. And I feel like in my situation, it was too many things that said that. I feel like, but then I reflected on it actually a little bit today. I kind of reflected and I thought about it a little bit. So one of the things I thought about, so I'm going to give you guys a little story, okay? And it's an anecdote. I can't say it right now. Anecdote, I think. Anyways, I'm going to give you guys a little story, something that happened. So you guys might have noticed in the summer, I hosted one of those markets, where people, oh, what are they called? You know, those markets you can go and you can just buy like candles and crystals and whatever. I hosted one of those because I have a huge space, and I was like, you know what? I have enough space that I can host something and it would make sense. And then it would be really good for marketing, because whatever people they bring or whatever vendors would now know about our store, it just makes sense from a business perspective. So this girl comes to see me. And I see her that evening. I talk to her. Now, I'm a very friendly person, and I tend to just, like, I talk to strangers. It's just being in retail, like, I can do that very easily. So we have a long conversation. Everything is fine. She's telling me how she loses her space to rent somewhere else. And, you know, they canceled her, they kept her money, and I'm like, oh my gosh, well, that sucks. Well, okay, you could, you know, rent my space. So in the meantime, she's also telling me about other things as well. And she happens to open up to me about the kind of bad luck she's been having. So, I mean, this is some crazy stuff. Like, she's telling me, like, her relationship with this guy that she really cared about, that she really loved, just broke up out of nowhere. The guy starts dating somebody else. Like, there's no possibility for them getting back together. Like, he's not even considering it. Then it's like she started having car trouble. Like, she was driving back. This is in the summer too. She's driving back from Montreal, and I think like a deer ran into her car. Her car almost flipped over on the highway. I looked at the car. The door was almost like caved in. It was like scary to look at, actually. Like, looking at the car, you kind of felt like this person like probably almost died in that car. What else happened? She told me a story about like she had an old, her house has like an old washer and dryer situation, and the door of the washing machine or whatever was really heavy, and she heard the door close by itself, and the washing machine started by itself, and like just like really creepy stuff, right? So I was like, okay. I was like, this is a little bit more than bad luck. She was even telling me she almost committed suicide, all this kind of crazy stuff, right? Now, I can't remember what month this was, maybe June or July. So she tells me all of this. And then they end up still hosting, I end up still hosting them in my store for this market. The minute that these people started, actually, I was already kind of aware of her the same night, to be honest with you. And I kind of didn't want to rent to her, but at that time I was still concerned about, like, you know, if I have a conversation with someone and I have a contract and they back out of it and blah, blah, what are people going to say about me? I was still concerned about that back then. Not no more. Not now. You can say what you want. If I have a feeling about you, I'm backing out. So I let them rent. I let her rent the space. She barely almost paid me. It was only $500. Barely almost paid me. And I can see why, um, they kicked her out of the last space. As a matter of fact, those local markets, they to me are a place where cults source new talent, like people that are getting ahead in their business. And it's like a little recruitment sort of scheme that they have. Because at that place, nobody came. They didn't advertise it whatsoever. And the only girl that they all were purchasing from was, and I had it posted, was this one girl in the back with like a really nice setup, and her business was whatever. So then after on BlogTO, it was coming out that all these markets basically were like not taking people's money for registration, not holding the market, canceling the market like the day before, not rescheduling, not refunding. And to me, it was like they were calling people on the phone from everywhere to come over to buy t-shirts from these people. But anyways, I digress. So we hold the market the next day. And I realize everybody at the market is, I'm just going to go call them a op. Everybody at the market is like, this is organized crime. This is a setup. Everybody at the local market was, I don't know what to call them. I'm going to call them a gang stalker because I don't know what to call them. Everybody at the market was just like a op. Every single vendor. They came in, they set up, then they started gossiping, side-eyeing, kiki-keying, like being weird. And this is at a market that I hosted. The whole energy in the atmosphere was off. Then the girl's mother starts barking at me in my store. I pull the girl aside because, I'm not gonna, I'm still gonna try to respect somebody's parent. I pull her mother aside and I'm like, listen, I want to talk to you. She starts getting frustrated with me. The mother comes out. I walked away and I tell people this. I'm like, listen, you really only have one time to offend me, one time to disrespect me, one time for anything, really. I walked away. I left it at that. They left. I cleansed my space after they left because I felt like I just had a whole bunch of demons in my space, to be quite honest with you. That's how I felt. So we walked away from that. Maybe a couple weeks later, she blocked me. She blocked me like maybe like the week after or whatever. She kind of felt some type of way. Mind you, I only charged a girl $500 for the space. $500, I think, plus tax for the space. She barely could pay that. We walked away. She ended up blocking me, which was fine. I was good with it because, like I said, I don't, listen, one thing about me, I'm okay. I'm okay. I really, really honestly believe I could not survive, but I would be very happy, like with no friends, no family, nothing, living like that. Like it would even almost be like I could focus now. I could really focus on like what I want to focus on. And that's hard for people to understand about me because people always think about like loneliness and whatever. That's why like in this situation, it's like they tried to isolate me and I was like, if you guys really been doing your research, like the real problem you're going to have is getting people close to me. It's not going to be isolating me. So she cut me off. And a couple weeks later, she sends me $70 via e-transfer and then immediately emails me and says, hey, I sent you an e-transfer. And I was busy at the time. I looked at it and I said, I'm going to check it. If I actually got it, I'm going to send it back to you. And please remove Can Boutique on your email, on your e-transfer list so that you never have an issue again or you never make a mistake to contact us again. Because if you've already blocked me, I take it as you don't want to talk to me. So please remove us and don't put us back on. She was hoping to have a conversation beyond that. Like she wanted to like reconnect. Now, I looked at that situation, and after that happened, I realized, because I remember when all of her bad luck was happening, I was asking her like what she thought that was. And she was saying that she thought it was her ex's, or she thought it was her mother-in-law. Like, she's not married to the guy, but she thought it was basically like her ex's mother that was like wishing her bad. And I was like, yeah, that's one thing for her to wish you bad, but to like want to take you out of this world? Because it really seemed like something was haunting this girl, like hunting her down. Every day this girl was having some mishap. It was either like she wants to commit suicide, or like her car is crashing in like these crazy accidents, and like all this stuff is happening. Now, she wasn't the only person that was having horrific luck. Along this journey, along this past year, every time one of them gets around me, it's like when they start opening up and telling me what's going on, it's always a situation of like craziness. Like me, I'm a positive person, so it's like I think most people try to be uplifting. Like, somebody comes and they tell you an issue and you're like, oh my goodness, don't worry, hold on, like things are gonna get better, etc., etc. But it's like, as they're telling you, you're like, this is scary, actually. What do you mean you almost committed suicide with his sweater or his scarf or whatever? Like, I was like, girl, like, get a preacher in the house. Like, this is crazy. So it's like, I remember sitting when all of this stuff was happening to me. Now, mind you, I remember early on, I said to someone, I was like, look, the main one, the ringleader that they hired, the witch doctor, the hitman. I remember saying to him, I'm like, listen, when people hurt me, their whole life falls apart. I remember saying it to him. But I understand why he probably didn't care, because he's probably like, yeah. Because people say stuff like that. People say like, oh, I'm a Christian. Oh, God doesn't play about me, blah, blah, blah. And then he takes those people down. Like, hook, line, and sinker. So I can understand why he's probably like, yeah. Just like when I was talking to the police, they're like, yeah. Nobody cared, right? So I remember the whole time I'm going through this, I'm thinking to myself, and I've become very accustomed to just seeing people like kind of do this stuff to themselves. So the whole time everything's happening, I'm thinking to myself like, damn, like they're nothing's happening to nobody. It's been a year. Like, this kind of crazy. And I realized that things were happening, but people were not connecting it to what they were doing to me. Like, this is a cult. Like I said, this is a cult. And so they're used to doing work on people, but they're not used to backfires, and they prey on the spiritually vulnerable. And when you're dealing with people who are spiritually vulnerable, or people who don't believe in God, or people who once you say you don't believe, listen, everything in life works on your belief. It's like, imagine saying to yourself, I don't know, I'm going to go on this trip, but you don't actually believe you're going to go on the trip. You might not even buy the ticket. Like, if the ticket is $4,000, you might not even want to spend the money. $2,000, you might not even want to spend the money because you just don't even believe in it. So it's like, imagine, how are you going to have protection from anything and then you don't believe in your protection? It doesn't even make any sense. How can they help you? This is spirituality. Spirituality is not like reality. Reality is based on what is already done, what is in front of you, what you can touch, feel. Spirituality is based on what you conceive in your mind. So it's like, for you to sit there and say to yourself, like, I don't believe. And I feel like those are the people that they target more than anything, is people like who are so spiritually vulnerable that they've never had a fight. It's always been spiritual bullying. They've never had a fight. If they say they've had a fight, I don't believe it. Because you know what a fight is? A fight is two people who are on the same level fighting. That's a fight. That's when it's fair. So if it's not fair, so say it's like, like a bouncer fighting this like really skinny small guy, that's not a fight, that's bullying, that's assault. They assault people spiritually, they bully people spiritually, but they had never been in a fight. Because if you've ever been in a fight, the first time it blows back, you're going to be like, whoa, I don't know, because I manifested, or I did this or I did that to this person. So let's say I want this person to lose a job, and then I lose my job. How do I not see that's a blowback? I want this person to lose their spouse, and I lost my spouse. How do I not see in my mind that this doesn't make sense? Like, this is correlating too closely to the negative wishes that I'm having on somebody else. But I realized to myself that they just didn't realize that that was what was going on. And that's what kept them continuing and doing things over and over and over and over. And that's what they did. They did the same things over and over and over. There was no strategy. It was just literally like, these are the 5 things we're doing. And they did it over and over and over and over. And to them, it's like, we're going to do it more until it works. We're gonna time things. We're gonna wait for this particular cycle, and that's what was happening. So I'm looking at the situation and put that aside. Let me connect it to the title, the Tomorrow Project. So this is really important. I want to put this out there because I know now that Brazil knows that they can get the information directly from me. I'm sure the only smart thing for them to do is to watch my videos and hopefully get them translated if they need that, and kind of figure it out, because I'm not sure the contact in Brazil can speak English. I don't think they can, because when they were talking on the phone in front of me, they weren't speaking English. So I don't think they can, but I don't know everything. Anyway, the Tomorrow Project. So they take the deal. They take the man's gone. I should be able to move on scotch-free because the job should be done. No, the job's not done. They decide it's not done. They decide that they're going to recruit me and pull me in. I don't think that's unique to me somehow. I feel like that happens to other girls as well. There's a reason I believe that. I'm not going to go into that. But anyway, so anyways, they decide they're going to pull me in, and it's not happening. It's not happening. Usually I'm feeling like this is a very easy thing. This is a very fast thing. But for whatever reason, it's not happening, right? I'm just not going for it. I'm just not looking for new friends. I'm not looking for new alliances. I'm not coming to the school dance. Like, it's not happening. So 3 months go by. Then Christmas of 2022 comes by, and they do something significant, and I feel it the day that they do it. They do something that is probably the worst mistake that they made. I felt when they did it, it was supposed to be an accident for me. It was supposed to be fatal for me, but it didn't happen. I wake up the next day. I can't remember when this was, but this was before Christmas. And I want to say it must have been after the 22nd or the 21st or something around that. I don't know. I don't know if it was before. I can't remember. But around Christmas time was when John came to my store, and he came and he looked like he was drugged up or coked up or something. And he looked desperate to just get back in contact with me, because it was like I was just not coming back. Like, could not manifest me back into his life. Still can't. People got to understand, like, some people have to cut cords. I don't have to cut cords. I don't even have to do that. Once I say you're gone, you're gone. I'm done. I don't care what you did. I don't care what contract you think you took. When I called home and we talked about that contract, I don't care what spiritual law is. The law will change for me. You got to think about that. That contract means nothing. They nullified that shortly after. How long did it take? 3 months after to nullify that? Please. So anyway, that got done. He did something to hurt me physically, and I felt when it happened. So then he had to double down because that didn't work, and they kept doing it. Whoever's watching, they know what they did, and it didn't work, and they kept doing it, and that's when they had to get really serious. And then so for the next 3 months, when I was at Oakville Place, they got my contract at Vaughn canceled. And then for the next 3 months, they were on me. They were on me very heavy. Then after that, the contract got canceled, and then for the next couple months, I was essentially I was kind of like in relax mode and like rebuild mode, and I got into, the space that we're in now at Vaughn and whatever. But what was really peculiar to me is I kept thinking to myself, how on earth did they manage to continue to negotiate for more time on my case? Like more time to keep wasting people's time, keep asking people to join into this mad fray that was really not showing any progress other than being hostile. It was really only just moving something from this corner, from this shelf to that shelf. It really wasn't, it was like, I'm not mentally breaking down. I'm not losing anything. Actually, thank God they helped me get out of Oakville, because that was like a wrong turn. I realized why I had to do it, but it was a wrong turn. So thank God for that. I didn't want to stay there anyway. But yeah, it was like no progress whatsoever. It wasn't like, and the most that they could do is maybe have one of their people take a picture of the shopping bag from our store and say that they were buying from us or something. And the whole time it's like, between the person who was contracted and the person who did the contracting, it's like they're just getting more and more mad and taking more and more losses and having more and more bad luck. But they're not connecting in my mind. Now, I'll tell you, the practitioner knew for a goddamn fact. He knew for a fact why things were happening. He plays too much. He plays a lot of games. But anyways, it's like people are not connecting what's going on with their life to like what they're doing to me. It is what it is. So fast forward the summertime, I kick everybody out of the store that's been in the store. Things are changing. And the thing about all of this, which is really, really, really important for people to understand, and I feel like I can say it now. I've been through these challenges in life before. Actually, I've been through a number of challenges. And so I know how it works as far as getting out of problems. People always want God to take them out of a challenge like immediately, like it must stop tomorrow. But the reason for going through the challenge is for transformation. So when you have a problem, the bigger the transformation that is expected of you. So when you go through the problem, like I know there's going to be every time is a turning point. So there's going to be a time where things are going to be revealed to me, but they're not revealed to me at a certain point, and I don't question anymore why. Then there's going to be a turning point where it's like the tide changes, the atmosphere changes. And then there's going to be a time where it's like, maybe it might happen incrementally, where changes happen within me and then new things sort of start developing. I know my formal initiation was on my birthday of this year. That is when I can't even remember why I'm feeling that way, but it was multiple things that happened all at once. And that is when things changed, where I was like, okay, I've gone through the first portal. Like it wasn't the first portal, but it was like, I've gone through the transformation that needed to happen this whole time. And it's like the kind of, it's like, imagine asking any question that I ask God, I will get the answer. And I remember I asked, like, oh my God, like, why is this taking so long? This is so irritating. And God was literally like, and I ended up watching something, and it said, if I change your circumstances, the only thing that will change is your circumstances. And I realized what needed to happen was I needed to change. I needed to change. And it wasn't, and as soon as I changed, it didn't matter what the circumstances were. Like, the circumstances didn't need to get easier. Nothing needed to get better. So it was like, it didn't matter anymore. I became fully equipped to deal with whatever came my way. So as after my birthday, I didn't need anything to change. I was so relaxed about everything. Along the way, there were so many changes that happened in me. And the changes are not like, people just see my personality changes and they think like, oh, she's a different person. But it's like, no, I always was like this, actually. I I have to reiterate, I've always had this Aries energy. It's just that I was in a very Libra place when they met me, and that was on purpose. I was in a very soft place. It was just that time in my life. I don't know why. Like, I know why, but I was just in a soft place. So by the time I get into my Aries energy, or back in it, because I was in it, but now it's like I'm able to blend the two. Before it was very harsh, it was very abrasive, it was very rough. But now it's like I'm able to be in that energy and glide between the different versions of myself, if that makes sense. So it's like one of the things that that changed about me was I just really don't worry about things anymore, no matter how crazy it was. And I feel like God wanted to show me that, like, if I need to get something done and it seems like I don't know how it's going to happen, you know, it used to take like a dedicated energy shift for me to be like, okay, I'm shifting into this energy to make things correct. But now it's just a totally different way of functioning. It's and that's the thing too, is like just realizing even the shifts that I've made in my life, like major shifts, have really just been just trusting God when God's like, okay, your job here is done. Your time is done. You served your purpose in this situation. You can pull away from it. You can withdraw. And I've been so happy I was happy because it was like, for me, my part in this situation is done. Now, there are people that will still, it's kind of like having a fight with someone and you're done arguing, you're done with the fight, you emotionally move on, you're not responding, you don't care, but the person is still fighting themselves. Or the person is trying to restart the cycle or restart the process, and nothing is actually working anymore. And if anything, it's like backfiring faster. It's more instant. Now, all jokes aside and all pettiness aside, it's like, this situation is going to be horrible for these people. And they know that. They know that now. If they don't know that, it's like, it's December 2023. Come on. We are a few days away from the situation really flipping on its head. And it's so crazy because it was an opportunity that people were presented with to make changes and just like pick a new life, pick a new way of dealing with things, like looking at themselves. And I feel like I was the only one in the situation that said to myself, like, I can't continue to function in this way. I have to approach life in a different way. I have to do things differently. So it has not been easy, but I learned my lessons, thank God. And that's the thing about me too. I know how God is. And people think that just because like you're very spiritual or you're very spiritually favored, like, God's going to go easy on you. And no, I still have to work hard. I still have lessons that I have to learn, and I have to learn them, and I have to go through my hurdles. And they've been all kinds of hurdles all at once. It's been a boot camp. whether it's financial, whether it's with endurance, whether it's controlling myself and not depending on the situation or the circumstances or my environment to be favorable. Being happy and at peace because I'm happy and at peace, not because my situation is great. That's been one of the biggest lessons, is holding on to my vibration irregardless of situations. And it's like I had to learn all of this. I had to trust in God. I had to be patient. Oh my God, patience was like tested. My goodness. But it's like, one thing I knew is, I know when I go through these cycles, I gotta learn lessons fast. So I'm eager. I'm not the person who's sitting there who's like, oh, why do I have to forgive this person? They did me so wrong, blah, 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 blah. I'm just like, you know what? I gotta hurry up and learn whatever this lesson is. The lesson is trust. The lesson is faith. The lesson is patience. The lesson is people are gossiping about you. Whatever the lesson is, I was just like, okay, learned it. And I'm like, okay, what's the next one? What's the next one? And I'm eager because I know the faster I learn the lesson is the faster I exit the cycle. I look at people who have joined me on this journey in the capacity of an antagonizing role, a bullying role, and I can actually recognize, like clearly see myself pull away, from the situation and still see them stuck in the same cycle doing the same thing. I think that's nuts. I think that's crazy. Before, it's the same things that used to happen, but now all of a sudden I can kind of see it in like almost like a fragmented form, where I can actually see myself pulling away, moving forward, having a fresh start, opening a new cycle, and literally watching people that are not going to get a new beginning because they are so far away from the lesson that they have to learn. So far away from the lesson that they have to learn that they might just perish in that cycle. They might just be stuck in that cycle for forever. Like, there are things you have to learn, and you have to graduate those lessons before you can get a new beginning. And the lesson is very difficult. Like, this is a hard chapter. I feel like the last 2 years have been extremely difficult for everyone. I'm just grateful. Like, as much as I might say, I would never think I'd be gang stalked, but as much as I can say, like, I've pulled away from this situation, I'm glad that I've evolved through the situation to be the kind of person who's like, you know what, I learned my lesson. And that's not to mean I'm perfect. I'm very much in my petty energy a lot of the times. I'm very much like, I want people to suffer for what they did to me and my family, and on and on and on. I'm not going to pretend I'm mature about it all the time. I have the whole gamut of emotions. I'm pissed off. I'm this, I'm that. But you know what? I'm not as bad as I could be. Nowhere close. Like, I could have ended up being enraged. This could ended up making me never trust again, never love again, all of that good stuff. But I'm grateful for where I am. Am I in a perfect situation? Have I forgiven my enemies? No, because I want to see people get their karma. But I know that I will. I have little moments where in my heart I'm like, you know what? It is what it is. I just kind of kiss my teeth. I'm like, whatever. It is what it is. And then they start going again and they start doing their nonsense again, and I get annoyed. Or I think back to things that have happened and I'm like reliving it mentally, and I'm like what would make a person like do that? Like, how are you capable of, like, how unhappy are you? And I'm not even saying that in like a way to be disrespectful, but it's like, what is going on that you've chosen to do this for money? Like, this is crazy. But it is what it is. But the reason I titled this The Tomorrow Project is that it's so crazy looking at the situation full circle, where these two people started out against me, working together hand in hand. And now they're at a place where they're both trying to finish the job separately. And now the one in Brazil is still hiring people over here to try to remotely do the job and to do surveillance. But it's like the one they contracted doesn't know who to trust and is experiencing the reality. Listen, I'm telling you, nobody will escape it. They will face the same reality that the victims of gang stalking face. And it is not going to be escaped. When you're a victim of gang stalking, you're isolated. And on top of being isolated, you don't know who to trust. Be it the man delivering the mail, or the person at the Shoppers Drug Mart you always go to. You don't know who to trust. Actually, what you do know is you can't trust nobody. You know that. And it's so odd to see the person who was contracted to do this to me is now facing the same reality. Because I can tell the difference between who was sent from who. And one thing I know is the one over here is probably not sending anyone, because with what money and with what trust and with what credit? So it's like the other one in Brazil is remotely working, because it's like finally you realize that this is probably not going to happen. And if the one on the ground couldn't get it done, the success rate of you doing it remotely is probably going to be even worse. And just for the transformation that I've gone through, I know for a fact it's not going to happen. Come on, they know it too. Like, just like, be serious. Be serious. If you didn't get it done when work was barely working on me, you sure as hell's not going to get it done now that it's not going to work on me at all. Like, black magic just does not work on me. It doesn't even touch me. I don't know. I'm positive they're sending work. I can't feel it, but I'm positive that it's happening because of them. Because it's them, And it's like, that's why I have to call it the Tomorrow Project. Because it's like, when is it going to get done? Tomorrow. When am I going to suffer? Maybe tomorrow. I'm going to get everything that is destined for me. It's going to happen. I don't really care when. I kind of feel like I'm on vacation at this point. Like, I'm still working. I'm not working at the rate that I would normally work. I don't even feel the need for it. We're getting our rest from like 2 years of hard work. Myself and my children, we're just living life. I don't have any feelings of not being hopeful. It sucks. I don't want to say today, the mood that I'm in today. Now, that may change tomorrow. I'm not going to pretend like I am above being petty. I am very petty. Very, very, very petty. It is what it is. I don't care. I don't have to be perfect. That's the other thing. I don't have to be perfect. But I will say this. It's like there is one thing in particular that has never worked out well. Whenever people slander me or gossip about me, I feel like it's just something that's really bad. Like, it's something that once you lie about me or repeat rumors about me, it's like something's gonna happen about that. Period. Something is going to happen about that. It's like a lifelong thing that's always been with me. So it's like, for me to see, like, whoever, my neighbors where my store is, my neighbors where I lived, my freaking customers, friendship groups, people that I know, people that I've loved, have such horrible things to say about me and have no factual basis for the things that they're saying has been crazy. But it's almost like I let it go. And, I don't know. When it comes to Toronto as a city, I'm so disappointed. I feel like I've put so much energy into building a community here, and like, I don't know, I just had genuine love for people here and stuff, and just watching that cycle come to a close. I was hurt before. I did feel betrayed. I can't say it was like a deep hurt, because it's like I kind of always feel like people are just gonna be people, So I can't say it like hurt me, like it cut me to my core, but particular people, I was like, damn, girl, like, I've always been so good to you. Like, how? So it's like, it kind of is what it is, but it's like just seeing that the cycle with the entire city has just come to a close. So I'm gonna it's actually already in there. In my stories, you'll see that I have like a link to my YouTube. I was gang stalked. I was recruited to be a drug mule, and they gang stalked me for the last year. It was like merciless. It was like crazy. And they like turned everyone against me. There was rumors. It was like crazy stuff was going on. So this story is so hard to tell in like just like from beginning to end because so much stuff happened. But I realize a lot of people are going through this. So I created a YouTube. I've been posting YouTube videos talking about my experience, kind of giving people like tips on if it's happening to them, like, you know, just like little resources that I can give as much as possible. And just like, listen, it's one of those things where I don't know. The person, like, there's still more to happen. I feel like the bulk of it is going to happen. It's going to start happening over Christmas and into next year. But as this stuff unfolds, I feel like the main person that did this, like that was hired to gang stalk me, he's like a destroyer. Like he's someone that comes in to destroy people's life. And he wasn't successful with me. So a lot of things backfired. So I feel like a lot is going to come out, and I feel like a lot of it is going to come out in 2024 publicly anyway. And so hopefully people do not have to keep going through this. This is a real problem. Gang stalking is a real problem, and it's a hard problem to prosecute because it happens with your family, your friends, your customers, your coworkers. And it's just everybody does one little thing, but it's a consistent harassment and abuse over and over and over again. And it's meant to make you like lose your mind or push people into human trafficking, into like the sex trade, drug recruitment. Like that's what they use those kind of tactics for. So it ended up happening to me. And then in the whole course of it, it's like I started realizing like a lot of people that were already my customers are already in that cycle. So I don't know if they got gang stalked. I don't know if everybody got gang stalked, but it's like some people knew something was up. Like people would come in and they'd be normal for a bit, and then somebody else would come in the store and you'd kind of see them like freeze up and seize up and stuff. And to me, from the people that I was seeing, it doesn't discriminate against if you're a lawyer, a doctor, a judge, it doesn't matter. They go after everybody. They go after the police. The police don't want the problem. The police don't want the drama. Like it's crazy. So, but it happened to me. I survived it. I'm not going to call myself a victim of it because to be honest, I don't exit any kind of situation as a victim. Like mentally, that's just not something that I'm just not a victim. I don't care how bad it is. I call myself a survivor. I call myself someone who learned a lesson out of it, someone who changed. I feel like now I'm ready to take on the world, where I used to be very like, try to avoid problems with people and try to stay to myself and all of this stuff. And now I'm just like, listen, if you can survive gang stalking, there's literally nothing like, you could go to war. I could go to war right now. There's nothing that I cannot do. Like nothing scares me anymore. It is what it is, because it's crazy. They need to make movies about it so you guys can actually see what it's about. But that's basically, if you want to know more about it, you can check out my YouTube. The videos are different. Not all the videos are me being so calm and mature. Most of the videos are me being petty. I have to edit the videos because I'll be snapping on people in my stories coming in, because sometimes they come in here and they're like, oh, stop talking about this. This is not about your clothing brand and blah, blah, blah. Like, don't do that. But yeah, you can check out my YouTube. I'm going to post the link. But yeah, basically it's, I don't know. I don't even know what to say anymore. Like tonight I'm in a mellow mood. So this is probably one of the more boring lives. Yeah, there are other lives where I'm really, you know, I'm not being the best version of myself, but I feel like I'm allowed to. I don't care. Back in the day, I used to care about stuff like that. Like, oh, people are going to think I'm mean. They're going to think I'm petty and blah, blah, blah. So what? Yeah, I'm going to be mean sometimes. I'm going to be immature. I'm going to be whatever. I have a right to be after everything that I've gone through. I don't have to like forgive this right away. I don't have to be mature about it. I don't have to be whatever. It's like everything is just happening in the time that it needs to happen. Because people that go through that, like this is a cruelty that is, I can't describe. Like, it's ridiculous. But the title of my video, I try not to go over an hour anymore. The title of my video is The Tomorrow Project, because that's what I was thinking that it should be called. Because these people kind of looked into me for months before they started straight up just gang stalking me. Almost a year before, I want to say. At least from 2020, they were following me. I remember when the first car followed me home. And I didn't take it seriously, and they knew where I lived and all of this kind of stuff. And the people that they started sending around to be my friend and blah, blah, blah. So, but yeah, that's never going to happen. I don't think they've come to terms with it. I've started noticing a lot of the old customers are starting to come back in the stories. And I don't know if they're trying to restart this or what's happening, but it's like, it's kind of like not leaving a relationship when you know your partner has emotionally like moved on. You're only going to hurt yourself. You're just going to put yourself in a situation where you're going to lash out. And it's like the person's not going to care. Like, even you lashing out is not going to make them have any type of emotional response. But you know, the way it goes is the guy who took the money to do it couldn't get the job done. And he's probably going to have to be laid to rest for that. Because he took a deal with the devil to bring me in. And God said, I'm not going anywhere. I'm going towards what is for me. So when you take deals with these types of people that put people on planes, that's probably not the type of people that you want to be messing around with like that. So now he's in isolation. He doesn't know who to trust. He can't pay for nothing. He's impoverished. He's diseased. He's living the reality that he wanted for me. He basically, it's like God made you devise your own undoing. And God knows you're good at it. So God knows you're going to choose the things that you always choose for other people. And then you go out and you manifest all of that for yourself. And now you realize, holy Lord, I'm living the reality that I wanted for somebody else. And how does that feel? You're over there panicked all the time. You're over there not knowing where your next meal's coming from, how you're paying for anything. You can't trust anybody anymore. That's how the victims of gang stalking feel. That's the reality that they go through, and that does not feel good, right? Doesn't feel good. That's a terrifying thing to live through. And that's going to be the way that you're going out, and you are destined to do that. You know, when you're in denial, sitting there thinking that it wasn't a hit on you, it wasn't a spiritual hit on you, that they didn't want to take you out for the stuff that you are doing, it's like at least now you get to leave the planet knowing that there is a God. You can't leave here not knowing that. At the very least, you know, it's a shit way to find out that there is a God, but there is a God. You might want to have a conversation before you leave, because you are leaving. It's coming soon. You know that. You're in your final days. Premature. In your 40s, in your final days. Like, you gotta get out of here. You're a menace to society. Actually, and if it doesn't happen in a couple days, then you know that's when the towers are really gonna start hitting, because you thought that those towers were falling all year, and they weren't. You know, you might have to get public recognition for the stuff that you're doing. Somebody's gonna start taking notice of what's going on. You don't know who's watching people might start saying to themselves, like, you know what, I don't want to live this life anymore. I want to come out and talk about, you know, what people did to me, that I too was gang stalked. There's so many gang stalk victims out there. There's so many of these people out there. It's eventually gonna come out. There's no way to hide it, especially for the fact that the YouTube is in my story. The link, you just have to click the link and then you can see it. And it's really interesting. Honestly, it's really interesting. But I do think this stuff is gonna come out. There's no way. I think as soon as I start, you know, speaking publicly, I think there's other people that have to talk about it. They have to. There's no way. They're only not talking about it because they're scared. And it's like, situations like that, it's just like the one person who's not scared or the one person starts speaking up, and then it becomes a snowball effect. Everybody's like, yeah, like it happened to me too, because they destroy your life completely. And there's, I want to say, thousands of people in Toronto that are dealing with this. Thousands. They were taking down my people that I cared about. So many people that I cared about got lost to this. As soon as they took a deal to go against me the one time, now you're in the gang. There's a lot of gangs, that's their initiation, right? There's a lot of girls that end up in situations like that where the way they end up in something is because they're in the passenger seat while a guy's gonna go commit a crime. He commits the crime, and it's like, oh, now you're in the gang. Because you were here, you're a witness now. Let you go what? Like, you're in. And it's like so many people were taking these deals against me where it's like they're taking a dollar. They're taking a dollar to come and spy on me or find out information or whatever. You're a witness now. What do you mean? You're a witness to gang stalking. Where are you going? Now they're showing up every day. Now they're in your life. Now they know everything about you. Now they have all your stuff hacked. Where are you going? Now all of a sudden you're quiet. Now you're looking at me with despair in your eyes. The next time I see you, you can't say hi to me first. Now you're terrified. Now you can't even get help from me. And the most that they can do is just watch me walk around free while they're still stuck in this situation. But it is what it is. I realize that the situation is such that it's very hard to escape. I used to be like, what are people thinking? But now I'm like, it's hard. It's almost guaranteed to suck you in. And I think that's what makes it even crazier for me, how people are trying to figure out like how I got away, or how I'm still walking free, how I am so brave, how I am speaking up against it, because they're terrified. These people make you feel terrified, like they're gonna come in your house at night and shoot you up. They probably thought about doing that to me. I'm pretty sure they fantasize about doing that all the time. It's not gonna go well. And I think people know it's not. It's genuinely not gonna go well. And I'm a very spiritual person. I know not everybody's spiritual, but I also know that's why this situation hasn't sucked the life out of me, if you will. So it's too bad you guys are all joining now. I'm gonna post the link on my YouTube. I really try for these videos not to go over an hour. Check it out. Check out my story. It's very interesting. The story is so crazy. I couldn't really tell this story as like a reality story. I had to try to tell it as like a fictional story at one point, because the kind of things that were happening were too outrageous. It was too crazy. So yeah, check it out. And then also check out the website. We're doing a lot more online stuff right now than in store. I need a break. I need to give myself a break. I can't be going to work all the time. I'm not a machine. Yeah, we're having 50% off, and there's so much stock that I kind of want to clear out. I don't know what I'm going to do, but I might do a bigger sale at some point. But yes, check out my story. I'm going to post my YouTube. I'm going to go try to get some more work done. Maybe relax. I'm really on vacation mode mentally. Like, I'm going to get to it, but for this holiday season, I want to kind of relax a bit. And yeah, not kill myself, because I just feel very comfortable right now. But yeah, you guys can ask, you guys can leave questions on the YouTube, or leave comments or whatever on the YouTube. Not so much DM. I'm not really doing DMs right now. But yeah, I'll keep posting. I promised myself I was gonna post every day. Like, I all made a banner for YouTube. I thought the YouTube thing was gonna be like 1 week. I post a couple of videos. Now I'm like, I kind of like it. I kind of like, I look forward to seeing my videos and whatever. And subscribe, please. I care about that now. But yeah, I'll be talking more and more about it. I just think it's a topic everybody should know about, and everybody should like safeguard themselves about it, even though you think it will never happen to you. Because I would think this would never happen to me. Like, I don't even talk to people. I'm not around people as much, and it still happened to me. So, yeah, check out my story, how it happened to me, how I got involved in this, what was going on, etc., and like the nightmare that I faced for like a year. So, anyways, have a good night, guys. It's right under an hour. So, have a good night, and I will post more tomorrow.